Get out, you don't belong here, my mother-in-law, Sarah, yelled, pointing toward the door. My grandson deserves a real mother, not someone like you. I stood in the middle of her pristine kitchen, surrounded by the extravagant decorations for my son Oliver's 5th birthday. The other moms from his preschool class fidgeted awkwardly, avoiding eye contact while shielding their kids from the unfolding scene. I'm Emma Mitchell, 32, and never imagined being thrown out of my own son's birthday party, but there I was, watching my mother-in-law play her usual game to prove I wasn't good enough for her family. You think being a part-time photographer makes you fit to be a Mitchell? She scoffed. Look at this party. Do you think you could have given Oliver all of this on your own? I glanced around at the over-the-top dinosaur decorations, the custom cake from the top bakery, and the pile of expensive gifts. She was right, I couldn't afford such extravagance, but that wasn't what Oliver had asked for. Mommy, Oliver's small voice cut through the tension. He stood in the doorway, confused, wearing his favorite dinosaur t-shirt, the one I had tie-dyed with him last weekend, already smeared with cake frosting. Why is Grandma yelling? Before I could answer, Sarah swooped in, pulling him into her arms. Don't worry, sweetheart. Grandma's just helping Mommy understand that sometimes it's better to let the people who really love you take care of things. I felt David's hand on my shoulder, but it was weak and uncertain, just like him. He stood silently, unwilling to challenge his mother. Maybe you should go, Emma, he whispered. You're upsetting everyone. I took one last look around, the uncomfortable guests, Sarah's smirk, and Oliver's bewildered face. Then, surprisingly calm, I smiled. You're right, I said, my voice steady. I should go. Oliver, honey, I said softly, Mommy has to leave for a little while, but I promise this isn't the end of your birthday celebration. Sarah's smirk widened. Always making promises you can't keep. That's your problem, Emma. You never know when to admit defeat. I walked to the door and blew a kiss to Oliver. I love you, buddy. I'll see you soon. As I drove away, my hand shook, not from fear or sadness, but from excitement. What Sarah didn't know was that I had been preparing for something like this for months. Since Oliver had mentioned a dinosaur-themed birthday, I had been planning a surprise, not something extravagant, but far more meaningful. I pulled into my driveway and went straight to my office. There, spread across my desk, were the results of 6 months of effort, dozens of photographs I'd taken of Oliver at the Natural History Museum, where I had been volunteering as the event photographer, pictures of him working with paleontologists, cleaning dinosaur bones, and exploring behind-the-scenes areas most kids never saw. Alongside them was an official-looking envelope from the museum's education department. Inside was approval for a kid-curated dinosaur exhibit, featuring Oliver's photos and stories. My phone buzzed with texts from the other moms who had witnessed Sarah's outburst. Are you okay? That was awful. She had no right. I responded with the same message. Thank you for your concern. If you'd like to see Oliver's real birthday celebration, bring the kids to the Natural History Museum tomorrow at 10 a.m. It'll be worth it. Sarah thought she'd won, thought she'd proven I wasn't good enough for her family, but while she was planning her fancy party, I had been creating something far more meaningful, something that would show everyone, especially Oliver, what really mattered. I sat down at my computer and finalized the details for the next day. The museum's education director had confirmed everything, and the local newspaper reporter I'd contacted was eager to cover the story of their youngest ever guest curator. David called. I let it go to voicemail. He'd find out tomorrow, along with everyone else, exactly what kind of mother I really was. For now, I had work to do. Sarah's party might have been ruined, but Oliver's true celebration was just beginning. The next morning, I arrived at the museum 2 hours early. The halls were quiet, and Dr. Anderson, the head paleontologist, helped me make the final adjustments to the exhibit. Oliver's photos lined the walls, not ordinary snapshots, but carefully composed images documenting his journey over the past 6 months. These are incredible, Emma, Dr. Anderson said, adjusting the lighting on a photo of Oliver cleaning a raptor claw. I can't believe these were taken by a 5-year-old. He has an eye for it, I replied, straightening a caption Oliver had dictated, and an even bigger heart. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from David ranging from anger to confusion. Mom's furious about your museum invitation. What are you trying to prove? Oliver already had his party. I ignored them. They'd understand soon enough. At 9:45, guests began arriving. I watched from the second floor as parents and children filtered into the museum lobby, many clutching the invitations I'd sent. Some looked uncertain, but their kids' excitement about being at the museum was clear. At 9:55, I saw Sarah's Mercedes pull in. She stepped out in designer clothes, gripping Oliver's hand, with David following. Her face was set, probably expecting a small, sad attempt to compete with her lavish party. "Ready, Dr. Anderson asked. I nodded. "Let's give Oliver his real birthday surprise." At exactly 10 a.m., Dr. Anderson stepped up to the podium. The crowd went silent as he spoke. "Ladies and gentlemen, today we're making history with our youngest ever guest curator. This remarkable young man has worked alongside our paleontology team, documenting his experiences through photography and storytelling." Sarah's face twisted in confusion. Oliver perked up at the mention of paleontology. "Please join me in welcoming our guest of honor, Oliver Mitchell." Oliver's eyes widened as the spotlight found him. "Me?" he gasped. I descended the stairs, holding out my hand to him. "Come on, buddy, want to show everyone what you've been doing with Mommy?" He broke free from Sarah's grip and ran to me, his face lighting up with excitement. Together, we walked to the front of the room. For the past 6 months, I told the audience, Oliver has been spending his Saturday mornings here at the museum, not just visiting, but working with real paleontologists, learning about dinosaurs, and capturing his experience through photography. The museum staff unveiled the exhibition entrance, where a huge photo of Oliver in his junior paleontologist vest smiled down at everyone. Sarah's jaw dropped as Dr. Anderson handed Oliver a pair of small scissors. "Oliver, would you like to cut the ribbon to open your very own exhibition?" With a bright smile, Oliver snipped the ribbon. The flash of cameras filled the room, capturing the historic moment. Applause rang out, and the guests followed us into the exhibition area. The exhibit walls told Oliver's story, his journey through paleontology. Each photograph showed him learning to clean fossils, cataloging dinosaur bones, and working on educational materials for kids. Beside each image, his own words explained what the experience meant to him. "Did you really take all these photos?" one of his classmates asked in awe. Oliver beamed, proud. "Mommy taught me how to use her camera. And look," he ran over to a display case. "These are real dinosaur bones I helped clean." Parents and children wandered through, admiring Oliver's work and reading his descriptions. The mothers who had witnessed the argument the day before came over to hug me, offering support and admiration. Sarah stood in the center of the room, her composed expression faltering as she watched Oliver explain how fossils were cleaned. David lingered near the photos, studying them with a depth I hadn't seen from him in years. A reporter approached, notebook in hand. "Mrs. Mitchell, can you tell us about the inspiration behind this unique exhibition?" Before I could answer, Oliver chimed in. "My mom's the best photographer ever. She taught me that pictures tell stories, and I wanted to tell everyone about my dinosaurs." The reporter smiled and scribbled down his words. "And how long did this project take?" 6 months, I answered, noticing Sarah's changing expression. While she'd assumed I was working meaningless photography jobs, I had been building something incredible with Oliver. "Some things are worth taking time for," I added. Dr. Anderson addressed the crowd again. "We have one more surprise. Due to the success of the soft opening, the museum board has decided to extend Oliver's exhibition for 3 more months. He will be our youngest contributing artist." The crowd erupted into applause. Oliver jumped with joy, wrapping his arms around my legs. "Did you hear that, Grandma?" he called to Sarah. "My pictures are going to be in the museum forever." I watched as Sarah's image of me as the unworthy mother crumbled. But this wasn't about revenge. It was about showing my son that true love isn't about lavish parties or expensive presents. It's about time, nurturing, and encouragement. As Oliver proudly gave a personal tour of his exhibit, David approached me. "Emma, he began, but I raised my hand. "Not now," I said softly. "Today is about Oliver." He nodded, understanding. We'd have bigger conversations later. For now, I stood back, watching my son shine. His birthday wasn't about Sarah's extravagant party. It was about Oliver discovering how special he truly was. And that was more meaningful than anything money could buy. 2 weeks later, I was editing photos in my home office when my phone buzzed. Sarah's name appeared on the screen. Since the exhibit opening, I hadn't heard from her. I hesitated but decided it was time to hear her out. "Hello?" I answered, keeping my tone neutral. "Emma." Her voice was softer than usual. I visited Oliver's exhibition again yesterday." I was surprised. "Oh?" I watched a little boy, about Oliver's age, stand in front of his photos for almost an hour, she said. "He kept telling his mom he wanted to be just like Oliver, a real scientist." I waited, sensing there was more. "I was wrong," she said slowly. About you. About what makes a good mother. I saw how proud Oliver was, not just of the pictures, but of everything he'd learned. No expensive parties could have given him that. I agreed quietly. No, they couldn't. David showed me all the Saturday photos on his phone, she added. The ones he took of you and Oliver working together at the museum. I never saw that side of your relationship. I thought about those Saturdays, those quiet moments, teaching Oliver about composition, watching his face light up when he got the perfect shot, seeing him grow more confident with each new skill he mastered. Being a Mitchell, I said carefully, isn't about money or status, Sarah, it's about building something meaningful. That's what I've been showing Oliver all along. There was a long pause before she finally spoke again. The museum called me. They want to start a program for children inspired by Oliver's project. They asked if I would consider funding it as Oliver's grandmother. I was taken aback, and I said yes. It felt right. But Emma, I'd like you to be involved too, as the program's photographer and instructor, if you're willing. It wasn't just a job offer, it was an acknowledgement of my worth, both as a mother and a professional. David had started making his own efforts, attending the museum on Saturdays, not to interfere, but to understand the world Oliver and I had built together. Last weekend, he even picked up a camera. I need some time to think, I replied. A lot has happened. I understand, Sarah said, and for once, I believe you do. After we hung up, I went to Oliver's room. He was on the floor, arranging his dinosaur figures into a scene he wanted to photograph. His junior paleontologist vest hung proudly on the wall next to a framed copy of the newspaper article about his exhibit. Hey, buddy, I said, sitting beside him, what are you working on? A story, Mommy, like we do at the museum, he said. See, this T-Rex is teaching the baby dinos how to be brave and strong, even when the big scary dinosaurs don't believe in them. I smiled. That sounds like an important story. Oliver, want me to help you take the pictures? He grinned. Yes, and can we show Grandma when it's done? She visited my exhibit again, he added. Did you know? She said she's learning to see things differently now. Yeah, I said, adjusting the lighting as I had taught him. I think she is. This wasn't about proving Sarah wrong or fighting her efforts to push me aside. It was about showing Oliver that true worth isn't found in grand gestures or pricey gifts, but in the quiet, patient moments we spend building something real together. As I watched him focus on his shot, I knew he understood. Each photo, each story, was a testament to a love that money couldn't buy, one built through time, patience, and unwavering support. Sarah's offer to fund the program lingered in my mind, not as a decision to make right away, but as a reminder that real change is possible, change that begins with admitting you were wrong and doing better. Oliver looked up from his camera, beaming. Look, Mommy, I got it just right. And he had, not just the photo, but the lesson, that sometimes, the biggest victories come not from grand gestures, but from the quiet certainty of knowing who you are and what you're worth. That was worth more than any birthday party in the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Stay stunned.